Hey guys, today I have a new addition in the Is It Light Enough series on the Jouer Essential High Coverage Crème Foundation. Someone was very kind enough to send me a little sample packet of this in the lightest shade. So I wrote down some notes off the website. This foundation retails for $38 USD, which would be roughly $48 Canadian, not counting shipping or anything like that off the website. It's 0.68 fluid ounces or 20 milliliters, which is less than a standard foundation. However, because this is a creme foundation and it's very high coverage, I'm assuming you would use a lot less. This has chamomile extract, cucumber extract, hyaluronic acid. It has a tripeptide complex. I'm not really sure what that means, but I'm assuming it's good for your skin. It has a matte finish. It's oil-free, paraben-free, gluten-free, vegan-friendly, and not tested on animals. So as I mentioned, I have the lightest shade Alabaster, which is for very fair skin with peachy pink undertones, and it's the lightest of 17 shades. Now, when videos for this first started coming out, I was noticing that the shade range is really, really bad. Now you might be wondering, well, why did you give Pure Nata a pass for having 15 shades, but you say this is really bad? Well, Pure Nata is a really small Canadian company that doesn't have a lot of money to create as many products. But they did the best they could with what they had, and they created a pretty good gradient, going from fairly light, even if it wasn't light enough for me, it was still pretty light, to really deep. And so they had all the shades in the middle there. This is not the same thing. This is a company that has quite a bit of money. It has a huge social media following. They have a ton of different influencers working for them. Yes, working for them because they promote their products. They send these people on PR trips. They send these people free products to promote them. And because of that, they have this huge following built up, and they have enough of a platform that they're able to constantly create new products, and they have that money there. And so I'm puzzled as to why, number one, they only created 17 shades, and number two, the shades themselves are horrible. You have a whole bunch of them that are very light, then they go into medium, and then you have a couple on the end that are light, on the light end of the spectrum of deep, and everybody else is left off. And they know that. The reason why I say they know that is because as soon as they released this, they announced more shades coming. They would not say that if they knew that they had a good product with a good shade range. They would not have to say, we know that our product sucks and we will work on it and give you more shades. They would not have to do that. So right off the bat, I'm just kind of like, what are you doing? Not cool, not cool. Anyway, supreme coverage, lightweight, and long-wearing, essential high-coverage creme foundation creates an impeccable airbrushed matte finish instantly. Simply smooth a small amount of the concentrated formula onto the skin with Jouer's Essential Precision Foundation Brush. I don't have that, obviously. And buff to reveal your perfect complexion. Doesn't feel like there's a whole lot in here. No, it's very liquidy. And the person who sent this to me warned that there was quite a bit of a scent. So, yay. Now, I've decided with these foundation videos now, I'm not going to prime my skin or powder my skin because I want to have the same amount of variables, which is to say no variables, because I think that makes it more fair. So I haven't primed my skin, I've only prepped my skin the same way I usually do. I exfoliated yesterday, and when I woke up today, I moisturized my skin really well. So let's do this side of the face first. Yeah, there's definitely a scent, but Doesn't smell as much as the Fenty foundation did, in my opinion. That one really bugged me, but we'll see. So I guess I'll start with a brush since that's what they suggest. And if you're new here, I do have normal skin that is neutral to cool. I say neutral because things that are too warm or too cool just look off on me, so. And actually, the color of this is reminding me a lot of the Fenty foundation did, which is to say it's not quite right. And for a creme or cream foundation, I was expecting this to be thicker than what it is. This is actually, I'm having flashbacks. This is exactly like the Fenty foundation on me. I did not like that foundation at all. Although that has a way better shade range at 40 shades. It just unfortunately did not have one for me, but that's okay. In max shade terms, I am less than an NC or NW10. I'm more of an NC NW5 at the most. That's why a lot of mainstream foundations just don't work for me. They're just too dark, in case you were wondering. That's one side covered, and it's definitely a bit too dark, and it does look, again, it looks warm on me. A lot of foundations just end up looking warm when they're too dark. They look kind of orange. And as far as the finish, it does look less matte than what the Fenty foundation did. I'm comparing it to that just because of how similar it has looked going on so far. And the color is very similar as well. It's kind of, it's doing some sort of scaly stuff in the center of my brows here. And it looks a bit rough around my nose. It just overall looks kind of textured, which I'm not a fan of. So we're going to try with a sponge on the other side. Even though it says to use with a brush, we'll try with a sponge. Sometimes that looks better. I like to just spread it around first with my fingers. This is a wet sponge. And she squirted all over me. I apologize, you guys. I don't know what happened. For some reason, the footage was saving to the wrong area on my phone, and it stopped recording because it filled up with too much space. And it stopped recording the end part of the video, and now I'm doing it again. So anyway, I finished up putting the foundation on, so it's actually been on for a little while now, like 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like up close. And it is slightly the wrong color on me. I did take photos of it that I'll insert somewhere over here so you can have a look and see that it's just not quite matching me. I think if I wore something that kind of went up to here and you didn't see my arms, it would be okay. And I'm also going to take some swatches, put them on here, of this foundation next to some others that I have, so you can see what that looks like. And I'll insert those here. And I guess that's pretty much it, but I will check in at the end of the day so you can see how this has held up. Again, I have not powdered my face. It has had a little bit of time to set down now because unfortunately the video cut off. It feels the same it did 15 to 20 minutes ago, which is to say very, very slightly tacky. It doesn't feel completely set. So hopefully that's not an issue with transfer or anything, but we'll see. So I'll talk to you in a little bit. Okay, so it's been close to 10 hours since I put this on, and let's have a close-up look. It's not the worst thing I've ever worn. However, it's also not the best. I feel that it's looking quite dry up in here right now, and a little bit kind of in here. It's worn off a bit in here. I was sneezing and blowing my nose quite a bit, so you know, that happened. One thing that I'm really noticing is I'm getting some breakouts in here that were not there before. I had one pimple here when I first started the day, and I have a few more here, and I've got a little one poking through on my cheek, and one on my eyelid of all places. That never happens unless there's something on my eye that's, you know, really irritating it. And I did bring the foundation all up around my eyes, so it's got to be that. Like I said, it's not the worst I've ever worn. In terms of the actual finish, I feel like I can still see some radiance. It's not a flat matte finish like some of the others I've tried on this channel. I do feel like it got slightly darker. I wasn't able to get a really good photo of that. Sometimes that happens. So I definitely sympathize with some YouTubers who are like, you know, like this looks darker than what it does on camera. I can sympathize with that now. So any photos that you saw, it's probably still not quite the same as what it looks in person. But if I had to compare it, the closest match is definitely the Pura Nada foundation in the lightest shade that I tried before it oxidized. That one oxidizes a lot. This one doesn't oxidize nearly as much. So I would say before the Pura Nada oxidizes, that's what this looks like. And you could tell from that video and those photos that, you know, it was definitely a little bit too dark. Definitely very dark after it oxidized, but not as bad beforehand. But I just feel like I have a lot of trouble recommending this. As you could tell at the beginning of my video when I was watching back my own footage, I was just very, very unenthusiastic about this because of how poor the shade range is. Chances are you're not going to find a shade if you're on the deep end of medium or, you know, any deeper than that. It's such a bad shade range. It's so bad. And there's so many gaps in between, even if you're, you know, light medium, you know, there's a lot of gaps, and it's tough to recommend something that's, you know, excuse my language, just shitty. And there's really no excuse for it in a brand like this that has the resources to come out with, you know, a certain amount of shades right from the off, and they're not. And you can tell by the way that they're like, oh, we have more shades coming, don't you worry. Like, why didn't you put them out right away if you knew that your shade range sucked? And it really does piss me off. I think you can tell it pisses me off. So I I don't even know if I want to recommend this to anybody. It's just, it's a really poor strategy on their part, and I feel bad about it. And like I watch all these other videos of people struggling to find a shade match, and it's just, I just don't know why companies are still doing this, and it's just, So Jouer, you need to do better. Other companies need to do better. It's 2017, it's almost 2018. That's not right. That's it for this video. I have more on the way, hopefully better than this one. I'm really disappointed, to be honest. And that's all I have to say. I'll see you in the next one.